Christopher Nolan. There has never been a filmmaker I have wanted to love, and do love at some points, as much as him. He's the man that inspired me to get into film. He's the man that inspired so many to get into film. And you know what? I haven't loved his recent movies. And Interstellar might be the biggest one. Interstellar has become a sensation. If you go on TikTok, if you go on YouTube, if you go on Instagram, any place where people are talking about movies, they are talking about Interstellar as if it's the greatest thing on earth. God's gift to film. And I've never seen it. I've seen the film, but I haven't seen the hype, is what I mean. When I first watched this in 2014, I was but a wee lad, 18 at the time. And I thought this was very, very good. I loved it at the time. Fast forward, almost 12 years, and I'm not in love with this movie. I don't think it's that great. I think visually it's pretty spectacular at times, but it harbors a deep loss of character and story at a certain point. That's my opinion of it. I haven't seen it in years. We'll see if my opinion changes today. That's the goal. I want to see the hype. I want to understand why you and everybody else out there loves this film so much. So today, we're going to watch it live, and I'm going to give you commentary on it. I've got my big-ass headphones right here that I'm going to slap on my head. Hopefully I don't get a headache, even though this is 3 hours long, and I probably will. I'm hoping that I get something out of this. I really, really do, because I want to see the vision. VHS guy, good to see you here. Best movie ever, he says. And I know that you're a liar, but that's okay. I'm hyped. I've got a little drink over here. I've got a apple cider muffin right here. I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this? I'll give you just a hair amount of time here to get ready for it. If you want to watch it with me, put it in your player now. Get ready, because I'm ready. I've almost got it queued up. It's as soon as I hit play, we're going. So, if you're ready, I've got Matthew McConaughey with me right now. That's my guy. He's carrying this movie, as I'm sure he will. Let me know if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. If anything happens as we go along here, just let me know. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time as I set my phone to Do Not Disturb as we lock in for this film. All right, you locked in? Let's put on the big-eye headphones. And let's get going. Okay, here we go. Interstellar. I got my blinky. We got the chat rolling with my boy, VHS guy, official. Best movie ever made. I really hope it is. Spaceships in the chat, guys. Yeah, get spaceships in the chat. It's funny that this movie is seen as, space movie, as it is a space movie, but it's funny because when they go to space, it gets way less interesting. But that's just my opinion. I think this movie gets a lot worse when it gets to space, but here we are. Christopher Nolan's classic film, Interstellar. The thing I really want out of this movie, and the more I think about it, the more I watch it, is better character writing. I think this film does have some pretty weak characters. It has a high concept idea, and it just needed to commit to one or the other. It has some high concept fun with science and stuff that's really good, and then it has a couple really solid character moments, but it doesn't commit to one. So, that was at least my opinion before this. I don't have an opinion of this now. I'm ready to love it. Of course, you didn't start that way. I also, did they get legitimately... Oh man, that's so loud. Chris. Why does he do this? Just make the quietest dialogue possible and then the loudest sound effects possible. It's beautiful though. Like, these shots are gorgeous. The switching to IMAX, I still don't love that he does that. The 2:3:9 to 1 aspect ratio, and then the switch to IMAX aspect ratio, that opens it up. I'm happy that Odyssey is going to be 100% shot on IMAX, because unless you're informing the aspect ratio change, I don't love when you do it. the concept or the idea, I suppose, here or behind it here would be the scale, grandiosity opens up so you can see more with IMAX. But then it cuts to these shots and they're not great. Like you can barely see Cooper here, and the squeezing of the aspect ratio doesn't feel like it informs anything either. What did you say? Him growing the corn is wild? My corn's going to be growing here in a minute with this music. I do love the music. Oh, shoot. My controller just disconnected. Oh, boy. That's alright. We'll keep the movie rolling. I just need to get my controller charging here. But mostly we add this. Shoot. Oh, I'm a fool. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to keep the movie rolling. So keep the movie on. Where is my cord? Hold on. I'm sorry. We're already messing this up. This is already an L stream. When to set the table? We always set the plate upside down. I'm not sure about this. Did they get actual, like, people from the Dust Bowl and give them a little platform to talk about the Dust Bowl, or are these actors that are talking about the movie? Okay, old man noise is getting up. All right, bro. All right. I just made a quick. I'm not old. Okay. All right, we're plugged in again. My flicking controller is charging again. That's the new Dumbledore, I think. Is that John Lithgow? That's the new Dumbledore in the TV show, the hit TV show Harry Potter. Maybe this movie's the reason Jonathan dipped out. Did he write another movie with Chris? I don't think he did. I honestly thought he dipped out after The Dark Knight, but no, he did co-write this one. And it's interesting because I have a theory that Jonathan Nolan is the guy behind a lot of what happens with the characters, and Nolan is the guy who does just the outline of the movie, the structure, that stuff. I don't know. But Matthew McConaughey is fantastic in this. He does this look a lot, though. That little... I can't even do it. It's just right there. Oh, man. Like one eye kind of down. Yeah, I don't know why he does it, but it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. The performances are all great in this, and I kind of wish McConaughey, made movies, because he really doesn't anymore. He's just in commercials. And there's Chalamet, of course. Shut up. See, here's the thing, man. I think his movies have gotten worse since they split. I think so, yeah. I don't hate this movie. I just want to see what other people see in it. I want to see the greatest movie of all time. I want to see it, and I don't. There's this relationship, which is the heart of the movie, though, the Matthew McConaughey-Murph relationship, and I don't feel like it's explored nearly enough to make it satisfying. What does it say? He's in a new movie that isn't as wide release yet. People are praising like crazy. I've heard of it. I can't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. He was in a recent movie. I wish he was just in more things, really. He's really great. I really wish they had more with Murph and McConaughey, though. Because, see, this when it goes to IMAX here, it looks great. It looks really good. And they have, real cornfield they're driving through. This is good stuff. The stuff on Earth is really good. It doesn't really start to collapse for me until after the crying emotional scenes. All this stuff I like a lot. And I want more of stuff like this in it. But, Hans Zimmer's score is great. It looks really nice. This stuff is incredible. visually. The cornfield chase is great. You say it loses at the time jump? Yeah, that's my thing. I think the time jump is where this movie starts to collapse. It's pretty good up until then, but it doesn't seem to know where to go or what to do after that. It's like Christopher Nolan had this idea for that concept. What would happen if somebody went down to a planet with massive time dilation, came back, and everyone he knew was either dead or way older? That's a cool concept that is not explored at all. So I could see Nolan being like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea," and then trying to design a movie around that and not exactly knowing what to do. I don't know. 10 out of 10 production, I agree. And then we're about to snap back to 2.39 to 1 right after this shot, I believe, when they go down to the drone. And it looks worse. It's so peculiar. I'd like to get in Chris Nolan's ear, ask him why he made these decisions. But that will never happen. He seems like a genuinely good dude, though. Like every interview that I've seen with him, seems like a really nice, kind man. And I'd like to talk to him because he has a cool concepts. I think his production's way better than usual in Interstellar. Yeah, I can see that. It's just everything seems fitting, especially on Earth. I really, honestly, I've made a video on this idea before, but I really genuinely think if this film stuck to one of these stories, it would be better. I think, again, after the time skip, you have these two parallel stories that come up between Murph when she's older and McConaughey as he's trying to get back home. And I hate it. I hate that they go in that direction. I think if you stayed on Earth, it would genuinely be a much more interesting film. McConaughey leaves onto a space mission. And, I mean, this is a very indie idea. There's no way that this would be a Nolan movie because there's zero scale to this. But if you stayed on Earth with Murph, I think it would be genuinely a lot more effective and powerful than what happens here. Because you get this 20-30 minutes where they try to establish this relationship between McConaughey and Murph, and it's almost really interesting. And then he leaves, and you completely abandon that relationship until the time jump, and then you follow both of them simultaneously as they talk about each other. But I don't see their relationship. There's just not enough time for it. I mean, he just needed to not decide love is the answer. So dumb. Yeah, love is the answer was a dumb concept. It's just frustrating when the movie is so scientific and methodical and logical for so long, and then love transcends gravity. The thing with Nolan too that I found frustrating in recent films, and with this one to some extent, especially near the end, is he doesn't trust the audience anymore. There's a couple of sequences in his recent films where he does, and everything is communicated visually, like the Oppenheimer sequence when he sees everybody that's cheering for him after he drops the bomb, as they're like dying and their skeletons and stuff, and it's a great visual way of showing his psychosis. But at the end of this, I can't. It's so obnoxious. The TARS robot who is just like, Cooper, what do we do? Cooper, what do you mean? Cooper, what's that? Cooper, what's this? And they just explain it and explain it. It's like fingers on a chalkboard. But we're not there yet. We're here. And this is a pretty good scene too, implying that the textbooks have been changed, altered, to show that the moon landing was in fact faked. It's kind of an interesting little idea here because, again, it's a very scientific movie. It's a very logical movie. So to have this happen where most people, probably 90% of the population or more, believe that the moon landing actually happened, which I think it did, to have this happen where the Apollo missions were fake to bankrupt the Soviet Union. It's an interesting twist to be like, okay, maybe the science here is a little different, or the world is a little different now after the blight came. It's kind of cool. thinks he's the smartest guy for sure. I don't know. It's interesting because I'm not sure if Chris thinks he's the smartest guy on Earth, but all of the fanboys of Chris think he's the smartest guy on Earth. Everybody that watches Interstellar is like, he's the smartest man ever. They watch Inception. But what I like about Chris, actually, to not harp on him too much, what I like about Chris Nolan and his films is that they are very simple with an elevated idea. It's all of them are high concept. You have a revenge plot in Memento that is elevated by the fact that he has short-term memory loss. Then you have, Inception, which is just a really fundamental heist movie that's elevated a little bit by it being in a dream. So I like that he has these ideas that are really simple genre movies that are elevated by a gimmick. And this one doesn't really have it. It's like a father-daughter story that happens in space, but those two things don't work because you either have the space story or you have the father-daughter story. And he wanted to have both. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. And the lines, the roads of that screenplay just kind of pass by each other without much interesting. Maybe that's it, except Tenet, which is why it sucks. Oh, wow. Yeah, Tenet does have this kind of lofty sense of self. I think that's really the only one where I watch it and I'm like, I don't know. He's like huffing farts on this one. I don't know what was the point of this. I don't know what he's trying to say. I don't know what anything is happening with Tenet. Like, there's some cool scale. Chris Nolan's great at scale and epic action. See, these shots are great. The scale of this is great. Like the scene when the cars are, one's driving forward, one's driving backward. Like that heists or car chase scene is really cool. Visually, it's cool. Does it make sense? Absolutely not, but it's cool. And I think, unfortunately, he has started to fall into the Zack Snyder camp of, I would rather make something cool than make something purposeful. Maybe I might get in trouble for that when people are probably going to hate that, but Zack Snyder does that, like with Watchmen. If you listen to his commentary, if you listen to him talk about the movie, he's like, why did I do that? Because it looked badass, dude. And he's like got this. It's not really pretentious, but it's like he just wants to make something like freaking macho and manly and cool in his eyes. And that's kind of what Chris is doing. Chris is like, it would be cool if we saw a photorealistic black hole. It would be cool if we played with time dilation. And it would be cool if we shot a bullet backwards. Who cares? Who cares if it makes any sense if the bullet is fired backwards? If you can't explain it, I don't know. Snyder at least knows he makes slop. Yeah, to a certain extent. I think he has a self-awareness to some extent. I'm not sure completely, but Nolan's interesting. He has the film world at his fingertips. He can go to any studio he wants and prove that by leaving and going to a new studio for Oppenheimer and immediately making $1 billion on one of the most boring ideas he's ever had. He has these giant budgets for these weird movies. Like Interstellar wouldn't be made by anybody else, I don't think. And he has a gigantic budget for it, and he has cool production design. He's got great actors in it. He's got these IMAX cameras that look amazing. And then he makes a movie about a guy falling into a black hole who looks through a bookshelf and can do that because he loves his daughter, who we only see for 20 minutes. Like, there needs to be something else, man. It's just, Michael Bay knows he makes slop. That's a safer statement. Yeah, I think so. The problem with these Hollywood directors is the only way, I think, to be a director is you kind of have to have a weird, like, self-important image of yourself to some degree. At least Chris Nolan kind of hides it better than most. He seems like a nice enough guy. Maybe he's a pretentious asshole. I don't know. But he got me into movies, so I don't want to hate on him too much. There's a lot of really solid stuff in this movie, and especially the first half is very, very good. And I also like the concept that it's set in the near future, but it never gives you a sense of exactly when. I think that's interesting and unique. Like you look at movies from like the 80s or 90s or whenever, and they have these sci-fi ideas, and they're like, this is set in like Blade Runner. It's like, oh, this is set in 2020 because it seems so far off, and then now we get to 2020 and we're like, oh, that's absolutely nothing like this, and it feels dated now. So I like the idea that he sets this in the near future but never really tells you, and then also has it feel like somewhat modern. Like this comment came out in 2014 and everybody dresses like it's 2014, but it also makes somewhat sense because the world is kind of in ruin. It's I don't know if he did that on purpose, but it's cool. Pain and Gain is genuine hilarious. I need to watch excuse me, I need to watch Pain and Gain. Again, cut to IMAX for the larger than life moments. And this is cool too. I like that it also, Earth is dying, and it's probably the humans' fault, but it never gives you too much. It could have been so easy to be like, and we bombed this place, and suddenly the Earth's ecosystem was set in reverse, and now blah blah blah. Now things are dying. It never really goes into it because it's not super important. It's just kind of the setting the stage. His future take is grounded in a good way. Yeah, it really is. Like, the stuff on Earth is really genuinely great. And it's sad that it becomes a space movie, which sucks to say, because I love space. And I love seeing a black hole. And I love seeing the time dilation stuff. That's super cool to see in a movie. And everything feels real to a certain extent. Wait, who's that guy? Was that just like a neighbor helping them get into the house? I never noticed him before. They just live on a farm, man. You don't need to go too much. Like, if you set this in a city, you would probably have way too much of the, this is what happened, this is why life is almost a dystopia. But it's just set on a farm. That's timeless. Everything about the Earth stuff is timeless, and I like that he did that. I think that's an incredibly smart thing to do here. Make it as timeless as possible. You can watch this in 30 years and be like, okay, it can still feel like the near future in some ways. Great ideas here. Now the ghost making the sand go into different little piles. It's a cool idea, but I don't know. The whole like first hour is wonderful. Yeah, it's great, and I think that's why it's so frustrating for me, because the whole first hour of this 3-hour movie is so great. There's so many good ideas. It's genuinely beautiful. There's a lot of cool production design, like my boy VHS guy just said. Great production design, great performances, cool concepts, cool sci-fi ideas. And then it turns into a romance about gravity and a father-daughter connection we don't see enough of. Like, even these elements, this first act, almost every other scene has McConaughey and Murph in it. And I couldn't tell you the first thing about either of them or their relationship. It's just... Christopher Nolan just struggles to commit these days. If you have a movie about a guy with short-term memory loss trying to find the murderer of his wife, you commit to that concept full 100%. Every aspect of the movie is about making that concept come to life, from the editing to the coloring to the performances to the tattoos on characters' bodies. Everything is committed to that idea. And the problem is, I don't see what idea he is committing to here. Is he committing to space? Is he committing to science? Is he committing to Murph? Is he committing to McConaughey? I have no idea. There's no commitment. And for that reason, it feels loose. It feels too nebulous at times. Commit to the Earth being destroyed by human beings and trying to figure out how to either leave Earth or fix it. Commit to that, or commit to just the space stuff, or commit to Murph on Earth. Just commit to one thing and it would be so much better. Like, you can have this first hour play out almost exactly as it is, but the moment McConaughey leaves, let him be gone. Let him be out of the movie and follow Murph entirely. Or let Murph be gone and follow McConaughey entirely. Commit to something. Some movies I can think of, like Soylent Green, was in the 70s, and they used tech and clothes from the 70s for the most part. You can see the period it was made, but feels less dated than it could. Yeah, exactly. It's a great point. It's kind of how this feels. This has a timeless quality. It came out 12 years ago, and it really doesn't feel like it. So props to Chris for making this feel very timeless. It's not dated in the slightest. And it's still pretty cutting edge in terms of its visual effects, too, which is impressive. If we're judging this on visuals, judging this on its effects, its pioneering effects, its production, it's all this stuff, it's like a 10. It's a perfect movie in that regard. But it's not helped by its script or its characters, in my opinion. But maybe I'll get something out of it this time. I don't know. Also, I don't know if Chris started this trend, but like, turn up the exposure, brother. Get a better light source. I don't give a shit if you have the light from the moon be very bright, so I can actually see what's happening. Because, like, what is this shot? Why would this even be in the movie? I can't. He's just driving down a road. Just cut straight to this. Cut straight to the gate. I don't need to see this dark ass shot of a car I can barely see driving down a road I literally can't see. Just don't do that. Anamorphic too. He shoots on anamorphic lenses and then IMAX lenses, which is strange. He uses practical though too, which helps, and has unlimited money. Yes. That's what I mean when I said that he has the film world at his fingertips. He does have unlimited money to a certain extent. Like, if he said, hey, I want to recreate the nuclear bomb practically, people would go, that's weird and wild, but we can try. And for him, they try. And then this, TARS. Oh, let's make TARS a real prop. Great. And more, I do think, as much as I'm harping on this film and Nolan and some of the writing, I think more movies should aim to be like this rather than not be like this. Of course, I would prefer if the writing was better. I would prefer if the characters were better. But filmmakers, take note, say, do as much like this as possible. Make great practical effects, have great locations, have great sets, have really good performances if you can get them. Obviously, having unlimited money helps, but I just know that this Doomsday movie coming out is going to be like a visual nightmare of green screens. Also, McConaughey has really good chemistry with basically everybody in this, including our robot, and I don't give him enough credit for that. He has very good chemistry with literally everybody. The only reason that people care about his relationship with his daughter is because the actor behind the character is so good. Like, he has incredible chemistry with TARS, with Anne Hathaway, who sucks in this, but hey, maybe now I'll think differently. The girl, the dad, John Lithgow, his son. Like, there also needs to be... There's like 2 scenes with Timothée Chalamet in this. And in order to get the payoff later that happens, where him and Murph are like bonded at the hip, they love each other, he wants to get back for her, and he completely abandons his son. And you can see Casey Affleck, who also is bad in this, you can see in the writing for Casey Affleck that there is that element of him being very resentful of his father because his father abandoned them and was not into him like he was his daughter. He didn't try, he didn't care, he barely has any moments with him. And there's a cool idea there where he loves his daughter and he doesn't seem to love he probably loves his son, but he doesn't show it as much. And his son's very resentful. That's a good idea that they also do nothing with. I think this first hour you could have committed more to that as well. Showing him and his family, showing his daily routine, showing how he might neglect his son and help his daughter. Like, oh, I'm going to help you do your homework. And then Timothée Chalamet's like, leaves the house and he barely even noticed him. Like, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but Michael Caine also in this seems like he's on the verge of sleeping in every scene he's in. And then at one point he's like, I just want to sit in a chair. And he's wheeled around in a wheelchair. Also, how does this is a nitpick and doesn't really matter. It's a quote unquote plot hole, and I don't believe in really making this a neck like knock against the film. But how does NASA still have funding? Are they like being secretly funded by the government? What government? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter, but NASA. And I know that NASA has weird stipulations to have their name and likeness used in movies. Like The Martian, it had to be very weird, certain things that they had to do. I don't know if that's the same here, but they don't really make NASA look that good, if I'm being honest. Like the head of NASA, Michael Caine in this, is like a secret mustache twirling bad guy of the story. There's no real villain of the story, so they kind of have to plug and play him at the end because the villain of the movie is that Earth is dying and blight is killing the crops. So that's kind of the villain of the movie. But then when he abandons Earth, it's like, all right, well then that villain's gone. So who's the next villain? Matt Damon? Okay, well we dispatch him. Who's the next villain? It's Michael Caine. He wants these stakes and doesn't quite have them. OMG, OMG. Oh, what's up? I mean, I guess it's one of the few still useful government properties at this point. Yeah, exactly. It is. But like they say, if anybody found out, nobody would like them. He's a villain for like 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. It's odd. It's just peculiar. It's very peculiar how Chris tries to raise stakes in this. When like, if this was a Star Trek, I don't love to correlate this to another property because they're very different. But if this was a Star Trek property, which it's not, and it's nothing like it, but if it was, Star Trek is so much more compelling because it doesn't fall into those genre trappings of we have to up the stakes at this point. We have to up the stakes at this point with this specific thing. It's usually like we talk to this person and this person doesn't listen, so we have to try and figure out how to convince them. That's usually what Star Trek was. And then this one's like, when we there's no one to convince, so they land on a planet, and then the planet kind of becomes the enemy, and then they leave the planet, and then there's a guy that becomes the enemy, and then they leave that, and then another guy becomes the enemy, and it's like this constant restarting of a ticking clock and stakes. It's strange. I mean, that teacher in the beginning was a villain. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess the person isn't really the villain in the movie, really. It's just the threat of extinction. Exactly. The threat of extinction is the villain, and I feel like that gets lost in the space plot. I keep saying it, but I wish this just took place on Earth, because that's where the good stuff is. The first bit of this movie on Earth is fantastic. Interstellar is actually a slice of life. I would love that. Yes, please, make it a slice of life movie. You don't have to call it Interstellar at that point, because it's clearly not. I mean, you could, because you could still have Matthew McConaughey going interstellar or leaving the galaxy, because technically it should be called intergalactic. Nitpick, because he leaves the solar system. But you could still call it Interstellar. It's a good title. And just have it be a slice of life picture about world-threatening extinction. I would love that, but it's too indie. It wouldn't make money. Chris Nolan would never do it because there's not enough cool scale that he could do. Oh, Michael Caine, he is just so tired in this. I know Chris Nolan loves it, and he's like his muse. Should have got somebody else, though. He can barely sit in a chair. I like this actor, too. I can't remember his name. But he's really good in this. He has this very specific way of speaking I quite like. It's kind of ASMR, where he, like, when they come back from the water planet and he's, like, wringing his hands and he goes, "I've waited years." I don't know why I love how he delivered that line. And the wormhole is cool, too. The wormhole is, of course, theoretical, but the way that they use it in the movie, as theory goes, is as scientific as possible, and it looks cool and it's visual. So that's cool. But that is stupid. Someone placed a wormhole in space. Why be so sciencey then? Was so weird seeing The Martian than this with Matt Damon. Yeah, very different movies. Yeah, it would be so heavy on people having to like sit in the horror of it, like The Road. I love The Road. I wouldn't take my eyes off. It was Whiplash for me, but most people hated it. Yeah, exactly. The idea of the world ending and having to sit in that is uncomfortable, and it's nobody would watch it. And I know that, but it would be so much more interesting, and it would probably be genuinely a great film. And this is still genuinely a good film. I'm trying to see the appeal. I'm really trying to see why TikTok thinks this is the greatest film of all time. But it's very good, and maybe that's the thing, is that it is very good, and people don't watch very good movies that often. Maybe that really is just it. Here's the thing. If this movie got 1,000 people into film, it did its job. Even if it got one person into film, then I'm happy with it. Then I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad it does exist. I think this is a very good movie, and it's a great gateway movie. I talk about gateway movies all the time, and it is a great gateway movie. The circularity was not a terrible idea with the gentle black hole, better than the inverse entropy. I agree with that. Yeah. That's when the entropy is when Chris really got dumb. But I firmly believe in gateway movies being a crowd pleaser movie that's slightly elevated, that gets people into movies, and this is doing that for a lot of people. So good on you. They should have just changed the movie a bit. Maybe added a bone temple of sorts, and maybe cast Ralph Fiennes. Yes. If this was Bone Temple, I would be loving it right now. Bone Temple is incredible. I have 2 videos for Bone Temple coming, actually. I wrote a video that I'm working on for it, and I did a podcast with somebody about it, actually. I genuinely love the Bone Temple, and I can't wait to watch it again. But we're watching Interstellar, so let's just sit with Interstellar. You can watch Bone Temple twice in the time that Interstellar is on, and that makes me sad. Because Bone Temple is a great movie. It's not a gateway movie in the least, but this is. And I still think if that was the goal, if Christopher Nolan's goal with every film is to create a movie that gets people into movies, I'm happy. Like, I can't be too mad about this movie, and I'm not mad about this movie. The only reason I'm upset or frustrated with it is because it genuinely has the potential to be one of the best movies out, because of its unlimited budget, because of the cutting-edge science, because of the cool concepts at it and the great premise. It genuinely has the ideas behind it to be a modern classic for everybody, for film critics and fans alike. Because I feel like when this first came out, I could be wrong, but when this came out, it was like Rotten Tomatoes. I hate Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm going to use it as an example. I think it was like 95%. It could be different now. I haven't looked in a long time. It's like 90-something% audience rating, and like a high 70s for critics, maybe low 80s. And I don't know how that is anymore, but I don't know where I was going with that, actually. I mean, I'd rate Interstellar like a 7. It's just the universal sucker of it that annoys me. Suckers. Yeah. I think I'm at a 7 with it as well, as of right now. I haven't finished it, so it could go up, but yeah, it's a good movie, man. It is a good movie, and it's watchable, and if it gets people into movies, it's great. Because at the end of the day, what gets people into art, what gets people into film, is when you watch something and it resonates with you, and you finally see it as something more than what you thought it was. I mean, Memento was that for me, where I started getting into film around 2012, and that's when Avengers was at one of its highest points. The first Avengers that just came out, it took the world over, and I wasn't in love with it. I thought it was fine, and I remember being like, what is different between that and something like Memento? I think I had just watched Memento around that time too, and I was like, Memento feels like a movie with every decision being made was made for a reason, and I think that is what gets people into art. If I look at the Mona Lisa, I say every brushstroke was done for a reason, for a specific thing, for a specific idea in mind. Even though the Mona Lisa is just a portrait of a lady, if you people can look at that and say, wow, this is more than just a picture of a lady. And then Memento, that's more than just a movie about a guy who shoots a bunch of people like Avengers, you know? It's every piece of it is meant to do something. Nolan peaked with Memento, IMO, I agree. Mr. Honest Outer, welcome, by the way. Spawn for me, baby, 1997. I thought it was the best thing ever made. Spawn is hilarious. That's a hilarious one to get you into movies. That's really cool. I would have never thought that. I was wrong, BTW. Hey, we all had that thing. For me, in like 2012 again, this is like my first year of high school. I started seeing things differently. Obviously, your brain starts to develop. And I remember being so into AWOL Nation, and AWOL Nation was my shit. And I was like, there's nothing better than Sail. This song peaked music. And now I still think it's kind of fun. But it's not peak music. You know, that's just nostalgia. Speculative ideas tying consciousness or attention to quantum outcomes exist. So when they went with love, travel stuff, I didn't hate it. And I love Spawn. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's the thing with Interstellar. After the sciencey stuff, the black hole that's as close to reality as we can make it, the wormhole as close to reality as we can make it. Everything in this is based on some kind of theory. I just don't like the theory that love saves everything and love transcends gravity. And that's maybe a personal thing. And see, here's the thing too. IDK, what I thought was peak. Here's the thing too about this film and so many similar to it. It's kind of hard to quantify here. Everything obviously is subjective. But there are some things that are factual. And one thing that's factual about filmmaking is that when you're writing a script, there are certain things, certain beats that people hit. There's certain beats that people hit that when you're writing a script, you know, if it's 2 hours long, 25 pages in, you're out of Act 1. You've already set out everything up. You set the stakes, you set the characters. You're out of Act 1 and into the conflict. And this movie is adhering to the 3-act structure so tightly that, as you can see on the screen below, we're at the 40-minute mark. This is 2.5 hour, 2:45. I think this movie's 2:45. So we're hitting that Act 1 break almost exactly when it needs to be hit, according to screenplay structure. And man, sometimes adhering to screenplay structure that tightly does you a disservice, because so far we've established basically nothing other than McConaughey is leaving with NASA on a mission and the world is dying. And that's a problem. Haha, IDK, what I thought was peak. It's out of place in the movie is all. Yeah, that's my problem with it, is in a sillier movie, I think love transcending gravity works fine. This movie has a sense of, not self-importance, but it has a sense of, this is science, this is how it is. And when that happens, I'm like, is it science? Like, you get that whole monologue with Anne Hathaway talking about love isn't quantifiable, love is incredible, and I love people that have died. What's the theory in that? What's the science in that? And I'm like, it's brain chemistry. Like, are we gonna forget this? The universe doesn't care about our brain chemistry. I can fall in love with a girl and the universe doesn't give two flying shits about that. No one can leave that for JJ. Yeah. JJ Abrams, I'm completely out on this point, but that's a story for another time. This is another great sequence. Matthew McConaughey, again, I love this moment where he looks under the thing. They've established that. Wonderful moment there. Fantastic performance. His daughter rushing out as she realizes that he's leaving and she's probably not coming back for a very long time. And she missed her last chance to say goodbye. This moment's great. And the score by Hans Zimmer Genuine goosebumps. Like, this is a great, great moment. But man, it's loud. Man, it's so loud. And all this stuff to make it kind of look like as if NASA was kind of making it with the shots like that, where it's strapped onto the side of the rocket. That's cool too. That's a cool creative decision. He's an amazing actor, had a wild run. He really did. Old Matthew McConaughey, Mr. Dallas Buyers Club himself. He's really one of the most underrated actors right now. And I think he's only underrated at this point because he doesn't do much anymore. He has a couple things here and there. Yeah, they are ruining the score for me because they're putting it in everything. Yeah, that's also true. I have seen you can't go on TikTok or Instagram right now without finding the Interstellar score somewhere. It's literally like it's taken over. And it's an incredible score, so I understand why. But it's starting to become overplayed. As good as it is. The score is lovely too. Castaway on the Moon was peak. Castaway on the Moon. Castaway on the Moon. Are you talking about the movie Moon with Sam Rockwell, or is my brain broken? My brain might be broken. I do love Moon. I think Moon is a more fun sci-fi movie than this is, actually. I love Sam Rockwell, and I think it's great. He. All right. I like this, too, when all the sound drops out, and it's, like, very quiet. It's just their voices. And they're in space, and the sound's dropped out. That's great stuff, too. Thin Red Line, amazing simmer work. No, that's the other one. Moon is the Rockwell movie. Great movie. Yeah. Thin Red Line. Oh, dude. Terrence Malick. I love Terrence Malick stuff. It's like this for me. Because they're all kind of feel similar. I haven't actually seen Thin Red Line. I own it. It's right over there. I have it on Criterion, but I haven't actually watched it yet. Welcome to Lunar Industries. The Moon soundtrack's one of my faves. Yep. Welcome to Lunar Industries is fantastic. I love that movie. Who made that? I'm forgetting the director's name. Doesn't matter. Now, this is another thing. Every time I watch it, I question. Maybe I'm missing something. Two things. One, the score here is like the intense docking score right before the docking, the Endurance explodes later in the movie. Why? Why are we making this like a tense thing? There's no reason to make this tense. There's no stakes here. It's strange to put the score here. But number two, it's weird. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's weird. Oh shit, now I lost my train of thought. Knight of Cups is very good. I agree with you. But The Castaway on the Moon is another movie. It's Korean, but I think mostly... Oh, interesting. I'll have to watch it. Tree of Life was filmed like 15 minutes from me. I saw Brad Pitt. No way! That's cool. Knight of Cups is very good, too, actually. He had that weird run where he was making movies without scripts. Song to Song was another one. That one I didn't like as much, but he's an interesting, fascinating director, Terrence Malick. Even more interesting because he's, like, completely anonymous, almost. Like there's very, very few photos of it. It's like Stanley Kubrick, kind of. Very few photos, almost no interviews. Very interesting. Very weird guy. And Hidden Life from a few years back is so great. I want to see more from him. I want him to come back again. See, why did they play the dramatic music for that docking? Who gives a shit? It's whatever. It's a nitpick. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. The second thing I was going to say. Dramatic music, stupid there. But number two is, right here, they're like floating around through the Endurance, and then they get artificial gravity. That's also a weird moment to say. The doors are charging. I'm scared. Oh, never mind. I get it. Is it like supposed to be foreshadowing for later? But why? It's very strange. The second thing I was going to say. No, did I lose it again? Oh, no. Oh, no. I thought this was supposed to help me. This was a mindful blend. No, I forgot. Again. Haven't seen Hidden Life. Actually, you should watch it. It's very, very good. And the score, I think it's by James Newton Howard. It's a very good movie. No way did I forget what I was going to say again. Oh, I remembered. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I got to get this out. I can't look at the chat or I'm going to forget. They're starting to float around here, and they develop artificial gravity by making the Endurance spin, like rotate as if they're on Earth to push them down. Okay, I'm fine with that. But then when they get to the wormhole, the black guy, Jeffrey, I can't remember his name, he's like, can we stop the spinning? And they stop the spinning, but then they still have gravity. Am I missing something? Genuinely, I have no idea. Because I might be missing something. But, like, I always, even when I first saw this 12 years ago, I was like, where'd the gravity go? Or, what? But again, very nice shots. Even like I don't know how he did this with the Endurance and the shots that are sticking. Yeah, Wright. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. I believe that's the actor's name. Very good. Very underrated too. I think he did this. I would guess he did this with just models, like miniatures. But all that stuff looks super good. Super good. It's like what Gravity wanted to be. Because of the wormhole having gravity, maybe IDK. Maybe, I guess. Maybe it's pulling them in a certain way where they're having gravity, but I don't know. It always made me go, scratching my chin. Again, nitpicks like that, I genuinely don't believe in affecting the quality of the film. I know some YouTubers, and I won't speak their names, that I used to be big fans of. They love having these little, like, I don't think this would perform like that. I don't think that would act like that. And then have that be like a negative, a smear on the movie. And I don't think it is. It's just like, oh, something I noticed. Like they have to be in a gravitational well, which would be bad. Yeah, there's definitely, when they get close to the wormhole, there's definitely a pull into it. I don't know if that's creating the gravity to help them stand, but there definitely has to be a pull towards it. Because you wouldn't be able to get, there has to be, right? You can't be able to get out of it. I try not to overthink the sci-fi elements as long as I can accept it with my brain on low. Yeah, that's fair. Like, the thing, like, that's not really a problem, is something I noticed, but it doesn't affect the rules of the movie. I'm a big fan. Also, they love this poem. It's kind of cool, I guess. In terms of the film's quality, if you establish rules and you don't break those rules, I'm generally pretty happy. Like, you can do a lot, and as long as you don't break the very basic fundamental rules you establish, I'm usually pretty happy. Yeah, for sure. They had the budget. They could have done the thing, but also you have magnetized boots, or maybe you just don't see it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they have the magnetized boots. Sure. I can accept that. Also, they've developed cryo technology, and it's never mentioned. I kind of like that too. You don't have like that type of stuff. That's why I think that's probably why that gravity moment not bothers me, but I noticed it, is because they never comment on stuff like cryo chambers. They're just there. Like, if they just had gravity in the Endurance and they didn't talk about it, I probably wouldn't even think about it or care. But the fact that they talk about it and they point it out and then they go, later, makes me go, wait a minute. That's like my brain going, huh? But if there were magnetized boots, that has the effect of zero G on everything else in the ship. That's true. That's also true. Pens would be flying. I still think more movies should do space effects like 2001 did them, too. With, like, they had the pen on that, like, glass board, and then they're just spinning the glass board, and they had the lady take it off. That stuff's cool. I like that. And Interstellar very, very rarely plays with that. Chris wanted to tell a dramatic story about family and love, and then sometimes make it very science-y. Now again, I hate to keep harping on this, Not if the pens are clipped with Velcro, as they are. Yeah, okay. See, you got an answer for everything. Again, we're nearly an hour in. As you can see, we're about just over 50 minutes. Let me actually double check to make sure that time code's correct, just in case. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. Yeah, so we're about 50 minutes in. And coffee. I'm going to say Tars made the movie. Tars is really good. Yeah, Tars and Case. I like them. We're about an hour in, and I still don't know what's going on. Like, I still don't understand. I understand the basic stakes. I understand that they're going to space to try and find a habitable world because the Earth is dying. Beyond that, what is actually going on? Not much. Like, this is supposed to be a story about characters and family and love transcending space, and there's nothing. Like, that's not even relevant right now at all. Okay, let me pull the movie up. Like, not having Tars in the world would be a tragedy. Yeah, Tars in Case. Yeah, pull the movie up. Come watch it with me. I got the time code for it right now. You're more than welcome to check it, to watch it as I watch it. I'm pretty sure that time code's correct. If not, it's very close. So I haven't done a live show in a while. I haven't done a commentary track in a while, so I felt like it'd be kind of fun to merge them two. The Titanic commentary track is randomly doing super, 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 super well. It has like 100,000 views out of literally nowhere. And I love that movie, and I love talking about it, so it worked out perfectly. Yeah. No, it's old Michael Caine. This is another thing that could have been interesting, having a scene with NASA with the family, because they're very standoffish here, and then they just don't do anything. There's so many cool ideas that they're just kind of like left like a fart in the wind. She'll get over it. How do you know that? You met her one time. Maybe she make a fool of you. Oh, Dumbledore. See, more stuff with Murph. More stuff with Murph and her dad talking about science and doing science, and that's why he loves her so much. But that almost never happens. Almost never. And it needed to, desperately. That's a cool shot, too. Saturn with the beautiful piano. It's lovely. I also like that other than that one, the big one, there's these time jumps, there's these time skips, and it's never really commented on. I think Christopher Nolan's a smart enough filmmaker to know, they were just on the plane, on the plane. They were just at Earth, and now they're at Saturn. A lot of time has passed, and he trusts you to know that. So, that's why this movie can be very frustrating, because he trusts you at times, and then there's times when he deliberately holds your hand so much to the point where it felt like my bones were breaking in my hand. Dumbledore. Dang, Murph. This is also another odd moment right here where he goes to talk to this guy, and he's like, there's only a couple of inches in between us and nothing. And then he talks about being like, yacht drivers aren't good swimmers. And I'm like, what's the point of this scene? Like, what do we learn about either of these characters from this? Solo yachtsmen don't know how to swim. He's trying to help him relax. What does this do for his character? I don't know. He's good at talking. What does this do for his character? I don't know. He's nervous. I guess it maybe sets up the fact that he doesn't want to go down to the water planet because he's scared. But he doesn't like being there either. So, I don't know. I don't know. This muffin, how is it possible that muffins get like kind of stale after being out in the open air for like 5 minutes? And also, they ripped off that Event Horizon wormhole thing full sail, dude. It's literally the same explanation, which is hilarious. It's a good explanation, so I get why they did it, but it's not even an interpretation. It's not even a remix. It's just the same. It's a great way to explain it again. Here we go. Here we go. Spinning. Can we stop the spinning? I was just talking about this. We're close enough to see it now. Is that the explanation? Stop the spinning. That gave us gravity. Whatever, bro. Who cares? Yeah, I thought it would just be a cool hole I could put myself into, dude. Ha 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 ha. I like that it says NASA on their little scratch paper, too. That's hilarious. All this stuff is super, super interesting. I love space. I think it's so cool. Space time, fabric of space, black holes, all this stuff. Love it. I wish more movies dove into it. I wish more movies were like that. I wish they tried to explain the stuff or use it to the benefit of the movie. And this one does sometimes, and it's super cool. It's the best stuff. Like, it genuinely, the stuff that is grounded in some scientific theory is genuinely the best stuff. The wormhole is one of the coolest visual elements in the movie. The black hole is the coolest visual element in the movie. The time dilation stuff is an integral and critical and incredible part of the plot. That stuff, when done well, carries this movie. Just like Matthew McConaughey and his back. His back is probably aching because he's carrying this so much. And look how cool that is. And I know Kip Thorne, who's like the world's leading scientist on black holes, other than Stephen Hawking before he died, like helped design a lot of these visual effects, which is a great selling point. Whether Christopher Nolan is trying to make it a selling point or not, which I don't think he is, it's an incredible selling point. It was like when James Cameron said we need to get real footage of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean for the movie Titanic. That's the best selling point for that movie you could possibly have. Whether he did it for a marketing or not, it doesn't really matter because it's great. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. That's cool. The bulk. They're passing through the bulk, the incredible bulk. That shit-ass movie. What if the incredible bulk was in this? We started running like he does in the movie. This is also very... I don't like this. Where Matthew McConaughey is the them in this thing and he's reaching out for the first handshake. What? Huh? Whatever. This is great. I love this shot when it goes whoonk and then we're into a new part of space. Oh, that's cool. Oh man, it's gorgeous. And this 4K Blu-ray, it looks impeccable. And first handshake. Get off my screen, Anne. You're cool. You're a good actor. You're sexy as hell, and you look great as Catwoman. You're not good. I don't like her in this. I don't like her in this. I don't know what her character is. I don't know. Like, genuinely, what was the setup for her? The thing is, I like that personally. Ha ha ha. It was a nice reveal for a second watch. Sure. It's a nice, yeah, it's a nice moment to be like, oh, I get it now. But what am I getting? That it was him? Okay. So what? Not to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just that's my thought on it. Like, okay, now what? What am I trying to? What do I get out of that? But I support your being triggered, though. Thank you. I just get triggered at things very easily, I guess. The thing with character writing that I wanted to talk about here is Anne Hathaway is the second lead of this movie, right? And she is supposed to be this character who is influencing Matthew McConaughey in making these decisions. And what is the first scene with her? She walks out of the darkness with Tars there and says, "How did you find us here?" What genuinely, what does that tell you about her character at all? Nothing. Like, at least the scene, like, when you're writing a character and you want the audience to understand and accept them very, very quickly, is you want to put them in a situation where we can understand them very, very quickly. It's the fun of watching stuff with people, reactions that are not your own. Haha, very entertaining. True. The fun of watching things with people. Watching this with people that haven't seen it before is fun because it's so much, especially someone that's not into movies. They generally love this movie. But again, going back to character writing, the idea of most films is, and obviously this isn't true 100% of the time, and it never really can be, but if you really want to set up a character well, take them and put them in a situation where we can understand them like that. Say, like, Matthew McConaughey's a farmer. Boom. You put him on the farm. He's a family man with his family. You understand him very, very quickly. He loves his family. He's a farmer. The Blight's destroying his farm. He's trying to save them. You understand that very quickly. Unlike Anne Hathaway, who is just in the darkness at NASA and is, like, interrogating him. That's not anything to do with her character later. Like, the best. I'm writing a video on this. Still hold hope that the WB Netflix deal won't go through. I agree with you. We'll get to that in a minute. I have a video that I've written about this and I've had kind of on the back burner for a while. The character introductions. The greatest character introduction of all time is in Lawrence of Arabia. You have Lawrence in the basement in this compound. He's a military man. He's the lowest of the lowest. He's literally in the basement with two guys looking at maps. You immediately understand that he is the lowest of the lowest. A guy comes in and he starts performing for him. He gets out this match. It's one guy he's not even anybody. He's just a guy who's slightly above him, and he starts performing for him. He's showing off. And then he has this match thing where he burns it out with his fingers, and another guy tries it, and he's like, "Oh, that really hurt." And Lawrence goes, "Yeah, of course it hurt. The trick is not minding that it hurts." And you learn everything you need to know about him in that brief scene. He's low, but he's ambitious, and he doesn't care the cost. It's incredible. And there's nothing like this in there. And I love character pieces. And I love when you can tell so much about a character by something so simple. A match being extinguished with fingers tells you so much about Lawrence. And it's a 4-hour movie, and yet that one moment informs every single sequence in the film. Who are any of these characters? Who's Jeffrey Wright supposed to be? He's just a guy that's there. Like, he was a guy sitting at a table when we first saw him. Michael Caine was a guy sitting at a table who's the head of NASA. Murph is just the daughter. Like, you have to set these characters up better if you want it to be a character piece like it seems to be trying to be. Sorry, I'm raging. And I shouldn't be raging because this is a great scene. A whole sequence is great. When they go down to the planet and it's so many years have gone past. This is great stuff. And visually, again, incredibly impressive. The vast ocean landscape. or seascape, I guess. Woo! Beautiful stuff. Beautiful photography. And the set of the ship is great. Romley. I need to feel the air. Ooh! I love that sound design too for that. That's cool. Look how cool that is. Signs of life. Stuff of life. Oh, she doesn't like flying. I love her now. Bye. See ya. Also, that's such a stupid thing to say. Oh. Stuff of life? Yeah, okay, water is the stuff of life. But what if it's only water? That ain't the stuff of life for people. How can you just... This ain't Waterworld. You can't just live on water, lady. Stuff of life. Shut up. Great scene. Look how cool that is, too. They had a real prop, a real spaceship landing in the real water. Oh, yeah. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, yes. OMG, the guy that dies in this act. Oh, that is silly. That's the first genuinely silly, ridiculous, kind of bad thing that happens. I have a lot of little gripes and nitpicks, obviously. But when he dies in this, every time I saw it, I was like, brother, all you had to do was walk. That's all you had to do. Just walk to the ship. And he's like, let me just park my ass out here for literally no reason. Even Matthew McConaughey's like, bro, TARS has her. Why aren't you moving? What's he doing? That wave gave me such megalophobia. Is that the fear of water? Or fear of waves? Look how cool that is, too. "130% Earth gravity would be punishing." Yeah, you'd feel a lot heavier. That's my great commentary for right now. You'd feel heavier in some gravity that's actually heavier. What am I, stupid? Oh my gosh, their ship's torn apart. This is not great. Fear of big stuff. Oh, interesting. Okay, fear of big stuff. So are you scared of like a big mountain too? Or is that just you had fear for that one specific moment? They're waves. That's cool too. It's a cool idea that these mountains are actually waves, and these waves are the size of mountains. That shit's terrifying. Like you said, shit is terrifying. Dun, dun, dun. Why do you need a recorder at this point? Oh my goodness, it's a big wave. That is a gigantic wave. It's terrifying. No, but like a big ship or a big statue. Interesting. Yeah. Stuff of life. Yeah, what are you actually doing there, Anne Hathaway? Like, have we established her to be a scientist that's also stupid? Like, what are these scientists doing? I don't have it normally. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sometimes it just happens, you know? Typically, I'm not scared of heights, but once I get around a certain height, I'm like, whoa, I got vertigo. And of death. Oh. I'm not, you know, I don't know if I'm really that afraid of death anymore. I used to be. But, let's watch, what's his name? Adam Scott? No, it's not Adam Scott. What's his freaking name? This guy. Let's watch him die here because he just parks his ass there for no reason. All right, let's let the robot get in. Let's let Anne Hathaway get in. Let me just keep standing here. Let me keep standing here. Let me watch this wave. Let me not get in. Okay, now I'll try. Oh, no, he's dead. Oh my goodness, the guy whose name is something is dead. I'm so sad. Stuff of life and of death. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, stuff of life and of death. Yeah, sure. Yep. I like A Cure for Wellness look on water more than I like Interstellar's. Is that stupid to say? I actually really like A Cure for Wellness. At this point, like I don't know. I don't know what to really talk about with this movie, really, because it's like a cool sequence and there's great cool things going on, and yet I'm at a loss. I just farted. If you heard that. Man, he's good. A Cure for Wellness is such a good movie. Very underrated. I really like that movie. Gore Verbinski is he's my one of my goats. Andrews are flooded. As someone that has no idea of filming or anything, it's really interesting how I noticed the framing in this movie, Interstellar. I mean, how you notice the framing? What do you mean? Like how it's shot, or the aspect ratio changes, or Anne Hathaway. See, I just I want this character to be something, and she's so nothing. She's just exposition lady, and she's stupid when the plot needs her to be. She's like, I need the recorder. I need the recorder. Oh, I should get back. Oh, you should leave me. What? What are you talking about? Like the Cornetto trilogy, where you can almost think you can make those cuts yourself. Oh, I see. I see. So it's like it's more noticeable. I see. It's like flashy. I'm counting as you, Cooper. Ugh. I really don't like Anne Hathaway's character in this. I just realized. I I I came into this movie thinking that I loved everything before the 27 years time jump, and I still pretty much do. But rewatching it has made me realize I really hate Anne Hathaway's character in this. I think everything, every line of dialogue from her is annoying me right now. Like this is like poking my brain and taking pieces out of my brain right now. I really don't like her. Like how how much detail is chosen. I see. It is a very flashy movie. That's for sure. It's arguably Chris Nolan's flashiest, grandest, most grandiose movie. See, she's just exposition woman. I screwed up. I'm sorry. Let me talk about exactly what just happened and tell the audience what just happened. Ugh. I agree she's great as an actor, but not a great scientist. Yeah, she's just miscast. And I think the writing for her is just genuinely bad. I think Anne Hathaway is a very talented actor, and she's great in a lot of things, and I like her a lot. And she seems like a cool hang. I'd hang with her. Um, and in this, she is just exposition lady who tells Cooper what certain things mean and what certain things don't mean. And this is a great moment though, where he's explaining to her his motivation. That's cool. That's good. I want more of that. I don't want Anne Hathaway saying, "Oh, she might have just died right as we landed because relativity, girl." Also, is it supposed to be a reveal or a twist that Anne Hathaway loves a scientist on a different planet, and that's why she wanted to go to that planet, which we'll see in a second? Is that supposed to be a twist or a reveal? Because it's not. Like it's. I mean, it is to a certain degree because she wants to go to that planet because she loves him, and that's why she wants to go. So that I would look at the body floating face down in his spacesuit. um, but we don't meet the guy. I don't care about the guy. So why do I care about that reveal? I've waited years. I love how he delivers that line, though. He's great. Dang, 23 years. That's crazy. Doyle's dead, bruh. Doyle. His name was Doyle. Yep. Yep. Nameless scientist man turns out to be named something. Doyle. Guy who had beard. But not black guy who has beard. Oh, I had a couple stretches. Yeah, it's 23 years. I'm not going to sleep for 23 years. Great idea. Great concept there, too. It'd be kind of cool to get a movie from his perspective, too. 23 years of waiting for people down on the planet while you're all alone. It's kind of Moon-esque, where one guy's on the moon all alone and he kind of goes crazy. That'd be cool. Mr. Man on the Endurance. I mean, he's not dreaming his life away. The meaning of cryosleep is to preserve your life. Yeah. It's a cool concept, though. Messages span 23 years, as if we just didn't know or hear that. This is the best scene in the movie, though. Yeah. It's powerful because of the relatability and relativity of it. It's powerful because it's easy to put yourself in the situation of him, where like we just watched a 10-minute sequence, and now 23 years have gone by. And if we can easily put ourselves in that situation. Suddenly, people around us, or people that we knew are dead, people in our family have grown up so much. It's a really good way to put the audience into Cooper's perspective here, who ultimately is the audience surrogate of the movie. That's why everybody's explaining shit to him. He's just the audience surrogate, and I think that's why it's sort of annoying to me. It's because they hint at more depth with him beyond just being an audience surrogate. Because like Leonardo DiCaprio is essentially that too in Inception. He's just the guy who people say, this is what dreaming is like, and this is how I can do it. And they hint at more depth with him too. But the sci-fi premise, the concept of it, takes over. And it doesn't really matter at a certain point who he is or isn't. And this one, it feels like it always matters, and it constantly is telling you that it matters. Oh, not Grandpa. Also, Casey Affleck has some of the most hilarious lines of dialogue in this, and so does his son. When his son comes out and he goes, dust. Oh, it cracks me up. Or when Casey Affleck delivers a line with such like vitriol for the line, he's like, yeah, and he's dead, buried out back with Mom and Jesse. Ooh. I can just tell he doesn't like the line. See, this would be cool too. To have a moment, to be if you're set on Earth, you can have these characters talking to this recorder just because they see it as their father, and they want to talk to it just because of that. But like he said, they don't know if it's getting to him. He's not responding. They just wish that he was. That's a cool idea if we didn't get the other side of it. If we never saw Matthew McConaughey watching them and them just doing it, it'd be very art house and cool. I can see the two things having their own weight. I already forgot what I was saying. Jessica Chastain. Oh no. Funny line for the audience there. Casey was triggering me so much, LOL. Like with Murph on Earth, he's making no sense. Okay, yeah. Casey, man, Casey Affleck's character blows really hard, big old chunks. Happy birthday! Oh my gosh. Character arc not only as a place. Dang. Yeah, we ain't coming back, big dog. You're gonna be like a million years old. And suddenly the movie is about to get a lot worse. Ooh no. Jessica Chastain tries, but again, the writing for her is hot dog water. See, that's a cool idea. Talking to somebody as if they're still talking to you, just to get things out of your mind, just to feel something. It's cool. Well, they have secretly failed. That's why he's prepping for something else. See, here's one thing I don't understand. If Murph's this hot shot and she's been working with NASA for 23 years and so have all of these people, how has nobody looked at my boy's equation and been like, he's not trying? Like, how has he filled them with these dreams of them being able to figure the solution out for 23 years? That's a movie I want to watch because this guy's got to be the ultimate manipulator gaslighter. There's absolutely no other explanation for it. It's interesting to me how people watch movies. Usually I pick a character and put myself in their shoes. For The Road, it was the guy that stole their stuff. For Interstellar, it was Matt Damon. Interesting. Yeah. I kind of do that naturally too. I put myself into, it's usually the main character, obviously, because that's the idea. Putting the audience into a character and having you view the world through their eyes, through your own eyes. It's a tale as old as time. Mad Max does it probably as well as any franchise. So Mad Max is barely a character at a certain point, but he doesn't really have to be. In the first movie, you get his arc, you get the world unraveling, and then past that, Mad Max is just a catalyst to view the world through. He's nothing more than that, and they don't try to make him anything more than that, and I'm fine with that. He's just a guy in the world who sees things, and you see them because he sees them. That's totally fine. That's like Spike in the new 28 Years Later Bone Temple. Spike has become sort of the audience surrogate. And Matthew McConaughey is supposed to be here, but he's also supposed to be an interesting character. So he's neither? Here's another interesting concept that they have to choose between both prospects because they don't have the fuel. I like that idea, setting up stakes. We can't get to one. We can only get to this other one. That's a cool idea that they completely undercut by them using the black hole to slingshot them to the world. So why like I get it. Like it creates a cool climax. It creates a cool visual of them having to slingshot them around the black hole, and it gives them a reason to do that because they don't have the fuel. But then they just do it, you know. Murphy's Law. Don't say Murphy around me. IDKY don't associate with the main character sometimes. I totally. I think that's also the point sometimes is that the main character is not relatable. That does happen, but it is interesting that you don't associate yourself with the main at times. The guy we've never met, she's in love with him. And it's going to utterly change the plot. This is so quiet, too. She wants to follow her heart, and her heart is ultimately right, which is the theme of the movie, that if you follow your heart and do so with love, love wins. In a space movie about trying to find a world because Earth is going extinct. It's just it's lame. It's lame. It's like a PG movie. It's like SpongeBob. So something SpongeBob would do. Follow your heart, and your heart will never lead you astray. But this is a movie that's the greatest of all time. I'm definitely getting she's got a point vibes because of the quiet. Exactly. She's got a point. She's got a point. And they should have listened to her instead of going to Matt Damon's planet. Then the whole movie would be over immediately. Because they found their place. They should have. They really should have. But who would have thought? What scientist in their right mind would have said, yeah, we should follow our hearts. Yeah, she does have a point. In the context of Christopher Nolan's movie, she's 100% right. She is 100% right, and she's proven to be 100% right when she goes to the planet and it is actually habitable. They should have just done it. They should have listened to her. And now we cut to Earth, where suddenly the Earth has become boring. Just like space. This is crazy. I love that cut. I always think of that cut. They're like trying to have a conversation. He says something that's critical. I'm going to work Nelson's farm. What happened to him? Oh, I would like to know that too. Why are you working his farm? And it just cuts to him already having walked away. Hysterical. There are very, 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 very many times when Chris Nolan's editing has done him a major disservice. And he cuts like a comedy at times. What, bro? Cut that differently. Have it, instead of having it like that where he's just walking away, how about this? You cut to the reverse of him looking at Jessica Chastain, and then he chooses to walk away and not say anything instead of having him already being walked away. It's like a comedy edit. Put yourself in the mind frame, or else. Yeah, exactly. See, I don't understand how sometimes Christopher Nolan's editing is remarkable and ingenious, and then sometimes it is so amazingly sloppy it turns into a farce. He's done almost every single movie has a moment like that. Almost every single one. Batman Begins has many moments like that, like the ice field when people are sliding around and he's kicking Ra's al Ghul and I have no idea what's happening. Or Inception when Maul jumps out a window and it cuts to Leo and then it cuts back and she's already halfway to the ground. Hysterical. And it's absolutely not played to be that way. But the editing is so bad that it is. Yeah, you weren't, though. On the water planet. You almost got everybody killed. I guess she was objective because she wanted them to leave her. I don't know. Maybe I guess the whole theme of the movie is that being objective makes you stupider, because her being objective was going after the quarter and that was stupid, and then her being objective was saying to leave her and that was also stupid. So being objective is stupid. Except he gets to have his cake and eat it too in this movie, which I didn't like at all. Yeah. Yeah, he's trying desperately to have his cake and eat it too. I agree. And it just doesn't work for me. And then then Michael Caine reveals that he's been a secret asshole the whole time. There's nothing to forgive. What did he lie about? I wonder. I do love how deeply hurt Murph is when she realizes I hated this professor so much. Yeah, she trusted him unquestioning. I wonder how their relationship grew to this point. That's an interesting thing that I would have liked to see. I wish it stayed on Earth, man. There's so many more compelling things here. The equation is false. He left us here to die. And then he just dies before he can tell her. No, of course not. No, there he goes. No, he's lost his mind. He's telling a poem. What was I gonna say? Oh, there's a moment coming up here that is very good, and it's undercut by poor editing once again. It's not as bad and as funny as that Casey Affleck moment, but this moment right here. And then she goes to stop, and she goes, "Did you know? Did he know?" She's recording the message to send to her father about Michael Caine being a secret asshole. And coincidentally, Tars watches it so he can record it and show it to them later. But here's the thing. Now we know that. Now we've been told that, right? We know that it's a sham. We know that he left us there to die. He didn't believe in them. He thought that the endurance was going to be the thing that saves humanity, and he had nothing that he could do about it otherwise. We know that now. And guess what happens? They tell us again. Why? How about this? Instead, you cut the scene early. She goes to his deathbed, and he goes, "I lied, Murph." Cut away. Don't show anything else. Cut straight to this. They're flying down to the planet. What's going on? I don't know. And then once they reveal it to these characters through Tars or Case, I can't remember which one, he's showing them, did they know that they were going to starve? And it's a big surprise to them. And then it would be to us too. But we already know it. And then it just tells us again. So that dramatic moment that we could have had with the characters, we don't get that anymore. That moment we don't get to have now. We just get to, we already had it. We had the moment with Murph, who isn't the audience surrogate. It's supposed to be Matthew McConaughey. Which is why I don't like that we ever see stuff on Earth from the point when he leaves Earth. Just don't go back. Don't show Murph. Show her through the recordings. That's good enough. But they have to hold your hand. You just don't need to. You just don't need to. It's so frustrating to me. Whatever. We get Matt Damon being a mustache-twirling villain here too. So let's go. Oh, these heckin' clouds broke my brain. I have no explanation for that one except magic. I agree the reveal would be better, like you said. Yeah. Yeah, the magic clouds that are ice. Some are ice, but some aren't. Because rain froze in the atmosphere, but it wasn't heavy enough to fall. It's just a cool sci-fi concept, I guess. This is also... I wish this wasn't Matt Damon. Because it's like a big reveal. Oh, man, we got here. We're ripping him out, and then it's Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Of all people, it had to be flicking Matt Damon. It pulls me out of the movie every time. I'm like, Oh, it's Matt Damon. It should have been Actor Man. It should have been like Character Actor Man. He's a compelling character, though. One of the few in the movie. Transmitting his data to say, hey, there's promise on this earth because he's alone and he wants to get picked up. It's a compelling idea because again it does a good job of putting you into the shoes of a person like Matt Damon. What would you do in this situation? Would you just die here, or would you submit data that says, hey, it's pretty good here, in the hopes that someone comes picks you up? It's a cool sci-fi concept. Once again, it'd be cool to have a spin-off of his character once he got down there and was happy and was excited and seeing all this stuff and then realizing there ain't nothing here. There ain't nothing here. What do? You have moments where he's talking about, should I do this, should I not do this, going through these debates. It'd be a neat, very indie again movie. What would anyone have done? Exactly. What would you do in this situation? It's a smart way of putting you in someone's shoes and giving some stakes to an otherwise stake-less part of the movie. It's cold and barren, yeah. I must say, given enough books, and I might be okay with dying. Yeah, you know, that's the thing, is that I wouldn't mind it to a certain point. If I could have some movies, if I could have some books, I don't know if I would hate it, but man, it would be so isolating. And like him, I would probably have that thought of, what can I do to get somebody down here? But if you do have, he has another TARS case robot. I can't remember what he calls him, but he's like dead, and he's trying. Why does he fit him with a bomb? I don't remember. Like, why does he disable him? Why does he retrofit him with a bomb? I know he has a master plan to escape the world, and he can't bear the fact that he lied, and he can't bear the fact that he's already disabled. So why does he have a bomb in him at this point, or does he later, when he hatches this brilliant plan to strand them there and then leave himself? He needs a human touch, so he probably already had a bomb in him, but why? You never really know until you're there. Yeah, he disabled it so they don't know he lied. Right, yeah, because that's right. Because the little robot man would tell them that he lied, essentially. He'd have that data. So I imagine he disabled him and then went to sleep in the hopes that someone would come. But did he put a bomb in him he must have put a bomb in him at that point then. See, here we go. Having this moment where we don't know that Michael Caine was the secret asshole, this would be nuts. I'd be like, what? But I already know this. This isn't powerful. This is a complete flatline of a moment. Like, why is this here? Why was it there? Choose one or the other. Don't have it twice, because the power of it's gone. It's powerful for the character, but not for the audience, because we already know this. So you need to have it at the same time so that it can be powerful for the audience and the characters, and we can feel for the characters, because I don't feel for them now. I'm like, all right, yeah, I already know this shit. I do. Yeah, see, great. Matt Damon knowing is a perfect continuation of that moment, but it's like it's starting at a valley and it's like trying to work its way back up. If you hadn't had the moment earlier where we already knew this, we would already be up here and it would just get better with Matt Damon knowing and telling. More data. Yep. Yeah, he tried for 23 years, lest we forget. Yeah. Oh, hey, buddy. Come here. Yeah, if you... Right, exactly. It would cause a panic, which there's many, many movies about. Once society sees through the cracks of something, it collapses very quickly, which is also another cool concept. It would be actually interesting to have a movie, again, set on Earth, where Murph realizes that he was a secret asshole, and then she has to kind of either try to figure it out on her own, try to solve the equation, and then what do you do in that moment? What do you do? Do you tell people, or do you not tell people? Do you try to... It's a cool idea. Hi, Taboo. Come here. Good boy. And again, the movie is forcing us to put ourselves in the mind frame that they can see inside the black hole. Aw, kitty. Yeah. This is Tofu. This is my cat, Tofu. I call him Tabu, because that's how South Korean people say tofu. Tobu. Tabu. Come here, Tabu. Oh, big stretch. Let Me Go Home is hilarious, knowing that they don't have fuel to even get to another planet. How? How, Cooper? How would you get home? Let Me Go Home? Big dog, what are you saying? See, yeah, what would you do? It's just, there's so many cool ideas that they just don't do anything with. Hi, buddy. How are you? Also, Topher Grace is a hilarious casting choice. He makes more sense as a doctor than as Venom, though. I will say that. And I like Spider-Man 3. The Spider-Man 3 editor's cut's very good, actually. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Yeah, Tofu doesn't really like people. He likes calm environments as well. So when I'm animated and like this, he typically doesn't like to be around it. He's a weird little cat. He likes exactly one person, and that's me. Every time anybody's near comes over, he hides. And he does not come out until they're long gone, like hours gone. Come here, buddy. He knows he's being watched. Oh, there he is. T-Boo. He's like he's literally right here on the floor. Hi, buddy. Come here. Do you want to come sit? Come here. Hi. Ooh, good boy. I'm going home. How did they having a scene where they make a plan where he goes home is more compelling than what's happening now, because I genuinely have no idea how he would be going home. Does he want to take the black hole back, or the wormhole back? I thought the wormhole was bye-bye, see ya later at this point. They have no fuel also. How is he getting home? are you doing, buddy? Hi. Also, these are scientists. They should know at this point that throwing TARS into a black hole also won't help. Like, nothing gets out of the black hole. They know that. Why would they want to throw him in there in the first place? That doesn't make any sense. They know that nothing would come out, including TARS or his data. What are they talking about? Yeah, TARS does not agree with spaghettification. Because at least TARS has the sense to know that he would be cooked. So now Matt Damon is forced to put his plot into effect earlier than he probably anticipated. I imagine he's trying to work up the courage or something to be like, can we just leave? But he lied to get them there, so. Turbo. Hi, buddy. They keep saying he's going home, and I just don't know how that's possible. Here we go. This coming up is one of my favorite scenes, though, and one of my favorite lines of dialogue from the best actor in the movie. Oh, is that so? Oh, child. It's the dust. Oh, my dad's old watch. Murph left all her crap there. I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, Murph, come get your shit. It's a cool visual. It's a cool location. It's a cool set. Everything about this is neat. Oh, here we go. We get the robot with the bomb in. Let me take a look at Kip. And he's leading him very far away. Yeah, here we go. He's telling him. He's being an asshole. And he's trying to justify his actions. Nothing. I don't know. My kids? I don't have kids. What would I see before I died? For me. It's bad. He named his son after his dad? Interesting. Also, this cross-cutting we need to get. Let's get a move. Let's move. That's what I'm saying. Oh, sorry. See, he doesn't like when I raise my voice. I'm not even raising my voice about anything. He just is scared. He's a scaredy little guy. That's what I'm saying, though. Let's get a move on here. This cross-cutting stuff is taking so long. Get to the point here. I gotta kill you now. I don't man. What are you doing? He didn't even try to talk to him. This scientist, this smart guy, didn't walked him all the way out here to not say, "Hey, I'm sorry, bro. This is not the place. We should leave." Like he didn't even try to talk to him. Why? Why wouldn't he try? And then once Matthew McConaughey was like, "What the hell, bro?" Then he tries to fight him. He goes from 0 to 60. And then Casey Affleck goes from 0 to 62. Second favorite line of the movie. He's buried out back with Mom and Jesse. He says that like he has to say every other word the exact same. Dad didn't raise me. Grandpa did, and he's buried out back with Mom and Jesse. I just don't understand what's happening here. I mean, I do, fundamentally. I understand why he's doing this, but I don't understand why he just immediately went to violence. See? See? There. Now you resort to violence. You coward. Boom! Then immediately resort to violence. That's way more interesting than just immediately resorting to violence without talking at all. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, give it a try. It's not like they're going to leave him on the world. Yeah, no, they wouldn't. And even if they thought he would, at least that's why he would walk Matthew McConaughey out into the middle of nowhere without a ship so that he could talk to him. Dad's not coming back. Yep. I also, it's not the first time it happens. It happened like 2 or 3 other times. But Jessica Chastain just screamed and it peaked the audio. You can hear it where she's like, "Dad didn't even try!" And it's like, re-record it. Just re-record the dialogue so that it's not peaking. Because they're trying to push their hope on him. I kind of get it. Yeah, pushing their hope on Casey Affleck, you mean? Stop it. See, even at this point, why does he try to kill him still? Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get it too. It's just it's strange that nobody talks about anything. They talk so much about literally everything else except for the plot. Like what the character would normally want to talk about in these situations. Don't judge me. Bro, shut up. Few Great score here though. Great stuff. It's all right. It's already been 2 hours. Yeah. Okay. See, now what's his plan? What's his plan? He comes back without Matthew McConaughey? Does he think he's just gonna sneak into camp? The one place on this earth that has people? Does he think he can just sneak in and steal a plane at this point? His plan was to take Matthew McConaughey down, kill him, hope that they mess with the body of his robot friend, explode the rest of the people, and then steal their plane. And then when he shows up on another planet, he's like, "I don't know what happened to him." Is that legitimately his plan? Because if that is so incredibly stupid. I can't even fathom it. And then to also throw away your transmitter because he doesn't want to listen to him to know that he dies or not. Like, I get that. Like, you don't want to listen to a man die. But that's the entire crux of your plan. If Cooper survives, your plan is over. So why would you turn that off? And then again with the poem, bro. I can't. Shut up. Oh, gee, I keep thinking I'm Matt and hearing a person die. Like, how insane would I have to be? What pushed me to that point? I'm struggling so hard with that scene. Yeah, like, yeah, it's difficult, and it's a. But I thinking of it in the terms of he's been there for 23 years, and this is his one chance to leave. His plan is to get out. You would listen to that man die. It sucks, and I wouldn't want to. But then I'm thinking, like, if I'm there for 23 years and this is my stupid plan, I'm to get out. Like, yeah, I'm listening to him. God, I want to make sure I have no loose ends. I don't even leave him there. I take him and I shove him over the edge of that oblivion into the abyss to kill him. Because I don't want loose ends. Oh, his mask is breaking. Push. You can't fight me now. Push. No loose ends. Oh, nice, Murph. Destroy the last crops of the humanity. It needs a human touch, just like he said. It needs a person to access this function, just like he said. Murph! Trying to get Casey out of the way so she can help the family. Stupid. I would listen, yeah. He even says, I'm right here with you, Coop, and ends yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm right here with you, Coop. Click. Yeah, what are we doing, Casey? Everything after, like, literally every plot point after the time jump relies on the characters being outlandishly stupid for it to come together. Anything in the last hour has relied on every single character to be their dumbest version of themselves for any of this to happen. Matt Damon has waited 23 years for this, and he's like, what? And then he's breathing. He takes the off, and he's breathing through a thing. How cold is it? And now he accesses the function to revive Kip, and it immediately shows him the data that the planet is not hospitable. Why would that be the first thing it shows? You revive Kip, and then Kip would just reboot, and I imagine you'd see reboot functions and then, like, access things, not immediately the bad data. What? And for that reason, he needs to blow up. So was the bomb in Kip or not? And then Matt Damon seems surprised by the bomb going off. So then he turns his transmitter back on. What is happening? His plan worked perfectly. He got a ship to himself by everybody being incredibly stupid and everything happening being incredibly stupid. Bro. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. I don't know. Or maybe there's a really simple explanation for all this that I'm not seeing. But my goodness gracious. Everything that just happened was way stupider than I remember it being. He blew up the only habitat on his planet. What if he wasn't able to get the ship? What if they didn't bring down 2 ships? Why did they bring down 2 ships? Why didn't they leave someone at the Endurance like they did last time? Brother. Coop being recruited because he was such a good pilot, or random scientist to fly just as good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this man, Matt Damon, hasn't flown a ship in 20 years. How is the technology the exact same too? That's a nitpick. I get it. That doesn't really matter, but it picked the audio again. Get in the back seat now. Peaked the audio. Re-record it, and then just quiet it. Just give me good audio, bro. Why? How is the audio peaking like this in a movie with this much budget? Nice. So Tars didn't trust him, but never said anything? He just disabled the ship? Why would he do that? What's your trust setting? Lower than yours. But I didn't trust you enough to tell you about it. That I did that. Or that Matt Damon's being weird. Oh my god, bro. I don't know. This is so annoying to me right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm incredibly frustrated. More than I remember being when I rewatched this a year or two ago. I can't. This whole sequence is obnoxious. Wow. Wow. Oh, this is so annoying. Why? The movie is so beautiful, too. Yep. He disabled his auto docking, and because he disabled... What if he disabled the auto docking, and then Matt Damon just docked? Fine. Without problem. Well, you're up a creek. But he's bad. He's good at flying, but he's bad at docking, which ultimately saves them, but disables their ship, cripples the ship. So all of these coincidences are just piling up, and I hate when movies rely on coincidence. I really do. I would much prefer for every single thing to be set up and paid off, and every single thing to be, hey, this is what this is. This is like not explained to, but like action and consequence, right? I mean, Matt Stone and Trey Parker talk about this all the time with South Park, with whatever they make. Even Team America, this is one of the stupidest possible movies. It's incredibly dumb, but everything makes sense. Everything has motivation. Everything has a point. As dumb as that movie is, every single thing makes sense. There's very little coincidence in it. And this has a much larger budget. Wow, that was crazy. Has no puppets as characters, and is way stupider. How did we get here? Also, bro, you are a scientist, and you're hearing imperfect contact, and you're still trying to get in the hatch? Are you the dumbest man that has ever existed? Like, legitimately. What is he doing? What is he do? What is the game plan? Oh, imperfect contact. I don't care. I'll risk the entire ship and my own life rather than just retrying docking. Because if they get there, what would they do to him? What would these bunch of scientists do to him if he just was like, oh, I'm on the ship now. Whoops, I was an asshole, right? You guys can put me in the brig. What? Is that the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario for him here is for them to somehow imprison him on a ship where there's no prison. That's the worst case scenario. And yet, for some reason, he thinks the worst case scenario is that they would blow him out an airlock. As if they would do that. So what is he doing here? This is so stupid. This is so stupid, bro. Wow. I am just I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted at how like moronic this became so quickly. He should know that. I don't know what he said to you, And now he wants to talk. He just wants to be the stupidest man alive and then talk. Oh, looks like he was the dumbest guy alive. And fortunately for the script, they can save it. He's having an episode. Yeah, he's having a major crash out. One of the greatest crash outs of all time. He did have an episode. Wow. Wow. Buddy thought Buddy was a scientist, and then he just blew himself up because he couldn't hear an alarm tell him not to do what he was doing. Bro. Good thing Matthew McConaughey is the god of pilots, and if 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 I ever get marooned on a planet, I'm gonna know what not to do. Yeah, that's true. If I ever get marooned on a planet, I'll just say, all right, guys, I was an idiot. Okay, I had a moment of poor decision making, and I submitted this data that's not accurate, and I feel really bad about it now that you're here. I was hoping that this would happen, but seeing you here now, I feel very guilty. Let's just leave. And they'd go, dude, you suck. You're a real dick for that. And I'd go, yeah, I know you can't trust me, but I can help y'all, I guess. I can try and help you and make up for it. And we'd be out of there. I lied, but please don't leave me here. Yeah. Even if they left me there at that point, I'd be like, all right, I guess I get what I deserve. I'll just read a couple books and sleep in the cryo chamber some more. But that's the worst case scenario. But I guess Matt Damon in this is like, the worst case scenario is me getting blown out an airlock, and I'm totally fine with that. As long as dot dot dot. I don't know. I really don't know. What was his motivation? What was his game plan? What was he trying to do? Why was he acting so stupid? Beats me. Dun, dun, dun. Another great piece of music from the GOAT, Hans Zimmer, of course. Cool visual there, showing that they have reached the same velocity to initiate docking. Cool visually. Everything, it feels like, when you're writing a script, at least when I've written some scripts, the way I kind of like to do it, that also doesn't make sense to me, how she's being pulled this direction and then her arm goes up over here. Wouldn't it be more like this? It's fine. When I write scripts, I usually have 20 index cards with ideas for the first act, 40 index cards for scenes in the second act, and then 15 or so, maybe 20 for the third act. But when I first think of a script idea or a premise, I usually have 5 or 6, right? So I had an idea for a Friday the 13th script where it's very meta, and I had this idea that Jason, the real Jason, meets an actor Jason, because they're putting on a performance or some kind of nerdy thing where Jason, there's a role-playing simulator where the Jason is pretending to fight people, and then the real Jason ends up killing the fake Jason. I had an idea for that, and I had an idea that Camp Crystal Lake would get bulldozed for Camp Crystal Lake replica to be put down exactly where it was. These meta ideas of remakes, what would happen in a remake. They would bulldoze the old for the new, but the new is just the old. So I had 4 or 5 ideas for that exact thing in this script, and I wrote those 4 or 5 ideas down on paper. Okay, this is how they beat Jason. This is Jason meeting this guy. This is Jason killing this guy. This happens, this bulldozing the thing. You got those 5 or 6 ideas, and now I have these 5 or 6 ideas. Now I have 60 more ideas, 60 more index cards to fill in the blanks. So these 5 or 6 ideas I'm trying to get to when I write the scripts, which is not the best way to write, because then I have an idea here, right? It's the 15th index card, and I have 14 index cards leading up to this 15th index cards. And so I'm just trying to figure out a way to get to that one. And that's what this feels like, which isn't the ideal way of writing. It can work if you fill it in well, and if you can write it well, and you can figure out the characters well, and if the story well. It takes a lot of drafting or a lot of iteration, and some tweaking here and there. But that's what this feels like. It feels like a second or third draft of Christopher Nolan had 6 really cool ideas and then just figured out how to get to those with some weird ass ideas. Like, he had an idea for Gargantua and the black hole. He had, and them slingshotting around it and somebody going into it and what would happen inside. Then he had an idea for this docking scene, and he had an idea for whatever else. He had these 5 or 6 ideas, and then he's like, how do I get from a character who is transmitting bad data and then blows up a ship so that they can dock on the ship? How do I do that? And then he came up with this convoluted, dumbass idea and was like, that's good enough to get to this set piece. That's what that felt like. And a lot of this movie feels like this, where there's set pieces that Christopher Nolan had in mind and was like, how do I get there? And sometimes he figures it out. And other times, like what just happened, you get the dumbest thing possible. You just gotta workshop it. If Chris workshopped Matt Damon's character and his whole plan a little bit more, you could probably figure out a legitimately interesting way from getting to point A to point B here or there. This is another great scene referenced in the wonderful Fantastic Four film. See, here we go. We have a plan that they're spelling out. It's why I love shows. Things evolve in spite of the script, and it's why it's important to have a last season, because we can imagine what could happen, but it's not the same. Yeah, right. That's like kind of what happened with Game of Thrones. Like, Game of Thrones is, for 4 seasons, the best show possibly ever made for 4 seasons. And then the 5th season has its moments, and then the 6th season starts to crumble, and 7 and 8 are legitimately bad. And that's the thing, is that George R.R. Martin clearly, because we haven't even had the latest book, clearly has taken a lot of time to figure out how to get to certain plot points that he has in his brain. Where the show, they got those plot points. They got, hey, this guy's going to sit at the Iron Throne at the end of the show. And then they just put him there. Like, they filled in the gaps in the fastest way they could think of so that they could be done with the show. And that's not good writing. Yeah, you got to the point that you wanted to, but getting to the point was terrible. So is it even worth getting it to that point? I don't think so. I'm so annoyed they cut Raised by Wolves. Yeah, it's just interesting because writing, like, so many people talk about the Star Wars trilogy, the sequel trilogy, the Disney movies. Like, they needed to have this big plan. They needed to plan out all 3 movies, and then they would be good. No. The prequel trilogy was planned out and was horrible. The original trilogy was not planned out and was very good. It's just a matter of good writing. That's it. Just being able to fill in between plot A and plot B in a way that makes sense and is just good, you know? Because you can have a great ending, but if the stuff in between the great ending and the opening is bad, it doesn't matter. Breaking Bad is a good example of story evolving in a slightly different direction than the script. Sure. Yeah, Breaking Bad ends when it should, too. It doesn't prolong itself. It doesn't say, oh, yeah, we should keep going for the money. It ends, and that's nice. And there they go. They slingshot around the black hole. Boom. Now I'm forgetting. How does Cooper decide to go into the black hole here? I actually forgot. Because there goes TARS, which was the plan. They planned to send TARS down there, even though it makes logically 0 sense. Oh, wait, what? She doesn't get it there? What's his explanation here? Ah. See, now I'm confused again. So he lies about them not having. So there's only resources enough for for her to get to the planet. So he leaves her, but he was talking about going home, like literally 20 minutes ago. Where'd that go? They just forgot. And there they go. Just like they thought. They can't get anything out. So why'd they send Tars in there? Why did he decide to jump in there? He decided to jump in there to get data from the black hole. What data was he expecting? The data that would save their species. But he must have known he wouldn't get out, right? But then he does because of them, which happens to be him and the humans somehow putting a tesseract into a black hole somehow. I guess they couldn't get home anyway. Yeah, he couldn't get home anyway. So he resigns himself to the fact that he's going to go into the black hole, which is the reasoning that I think the movie's getting. It's strange though that the entire movie is about him worried that he's missing time with Murph, and then he goes into a black hole. He's like, and maybe he's going in there because he thinks that maybe they're all dead at this point. It just cost him 50 years, another 50 years, so they would be very old at this point. I don't know, man. And then we cut back to this dumbass Casey, stupid idiot Affleck. Oh, my sister just burned our crops because the corn is one of the last thing that's growing, but she doesn't care about food. She doesn't care about that. She's gonna burn it. Yeah, eject before it crumples into a fun little miniature. Oh my gosh, pull it, pull it. Yeah. That's cool. Visually, a lot of this is cool. And Matt is great. It's like when I talk into a fan. It'd be cool to actually see him get spaghetti-fied, but no. Maybe have him get spaghetti-fied and then snap back. But no, you have to have a scene with a tesseract that is all a girl's bedroom because she can save humanity because of love. Maybe he thinks they have more of a chance to get the data with, yeah, with him and Tars. Yeah, I think so. I think he probably thinks that because he's not a scientist, so it makes sense for him to think that. I hate this part. I think I actually might hate the Matt Damon trying to get out of the planet recklessness more, though. We'll see. But I hate this part. Hate, double hate, loathe entirely. I cannot stand this ending. I love the actual ending where he gets back with Murph. They kind of reconcile. It's beautiful. It's nice. And then he realizes that, his place isn't there anymore. And he goes out to find Dr. Brand. That's cool. Because they spent the most time together. It's not like, maybe that's the ultimate point, is that his love for Murph helped them save the day. But ultimately, the person he spent the most time with is Brand. And she's the one he should actually be loving and caring for. And he's not. And he realizes that at the end and goes and finds her. That's good. I like that. But this sucks. They built a tesseract, a big thing with moments from a girl's bedroom that you can play with endlessly in a black hole somehow because they're smart. Boo. America. Come and save the day, America. Freedom is the only way. I actually thought it was creative to represent her room like that. IDK, how you encode black hole data in a clock hands. But yeah. I mean, visually it is cool. It's a cool concept. It's a cool creative visual. It's a cool set piece. Again, it feels like this is a set piece Christopher Nolan envisioned, and then he's like, "How do I get it there? Stick it in a black hole." I'm gonna say I couldn't have done it better. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't think I could have done this better either. If I were to write it, I probably wouldn't get to this point though. I wouldn't want this to be the conclusion. So I don't know, and maybe I couldn't make the conclusion better either way. Maybe this is the best outcome, but I don't like it. It's just I don't know. It's cool visually. It's very cool, and it's a neat concept that he can interact with the room across time. It's a neat concept. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but that's fine if they don't try to explain it, right? And I think I just don't like the explanation. Like, he drops into this tesseract, and then he says, "Oh, humans built it," and then my brain goes, okay, how? Like I said earlier with the gravity thing, with the endurance spinning, and then they tell it to stop spinning, but they still have gravity. Once you point something out, then you open the door to it being overly analyzed, in my view. So I'm like, once they point out that love transcends gravity and love is the reason why that he's there and the reason why humans built this, then I'm like, okay, now the door's open for me. Now I can walk into it and try to view it in the way that they wanted me to, and I don't see it. Yeah, fair to not like it. I'm also in two minds why they went in so in detail with the explanation. That's my point, is that I don't like that they explain it. I don't. I think there at a certain point in a movie there are things you have to explain, and you have to have exposition. There's almost no film that exists or can exist without exposition or explanation about things. You have to have the moments when the characters sit down and talk about the plot to each other. You have to, and there's creative ways to get around it to where it doesn't feel like exposition, and this movie doesn't do that. It's coming up in a minute, but they explain this to the point where it's not fun anymore, or it doesn't feel creative anymore, and they should not have done that. Christopher Nolan, for the first hour, was such used vagueness and implication in ingenious ways. He doesn't explain anything about the Earth or why it's in disarray or what year it is. Like I said, he doesn't explain any of that because he doesn't have to. And I don't think you have to explain this to the degree that they do. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would do it otherwise. Because, like, this is working okay. I still don't love it. But once he, like, starts talking to TARS and he's like, they brought us here, and love is here, and it's transcended gravity, and all that stuff. He's like explaining it. That's what I really hate. Like, this is fine. It's a little like eyebrow raising. Like, how, why, what's going on? But I would buy it better if they didn't immediately jump into the longest winded exposition dump of all time. I feel like Walter Mitty has no exposition. He. There is definitely exposition in Walter Mitty. They do a good job of cloaking it, though, for sure. And they paint in Walter Mitty. I'm not in love with Walter Mitty, but they have actually really good moments of visual storytelling about how Ben Stiller is completely like just coasting through his life, this 9 to 5, and he's having a midlife crisis where he wants more, but he doesn't know how to obtain it. And there's cool ways they tell that story visually, where it's all gray, and then he goes into his fantasies, and they get more colorful and stuff. I wish they had less fantasies. There's like way too many of them before he actually starts doing things. But I like that it's like this boring, drab office, and then once he actually gets out in the world, it's vibrant, it's green, it's incredible. You can tell it's good visual storytelling there. That's more of a coming of age. It is a coming of age story. See, now this is where I have a lot of issue. They just talking about it for no reason. send a message. Cut all this. Literally cut this all. Don't explain this shit. This is so stupid. We have already established that visually by him literally doing it. You don't need to tell us that. Gravity across the dimensions. It can flow across the dimensions. I don't know if that doesn't make sense, but you've already established that you can do it. And now that you've said it, now I don't like it. Does that make sense? Like, it does it. I don't know if that makes sense, but just don't open that door. Just do it. You don't need to explain it like this. Like, I don't know. My past already happened. Who's they? Us. Stupid. They're not trying to change the past. Boo. Boo. Don't talk about this, bro. Here you go. See? Cut all of that and then just say, cut straight to that. Tars, give me all the coordinates in binary. You could have a moment where he's floating or he watches this moment, like he's watching her, and then he can be like watching, and then like look around like that, like, and then boom, hey Tars, give me the coordinates in binary, and then he starts doing it. Just do it. You don't have to explain it. No. I brought myself here. I already see that. I already get it. No. Don't say that. Stop. I brought myself here. Don't you see, Tars? Yes, we see. Don't. We can already link this together in our brains already. We can already see that it's him. You don't need to tell us that it's him. I already see that. Cut straight to that. Can see that? Doesn't make sense, but okay. What? Oh, bro. Do you see? Yes, I see. I get it, Chris. I get it. Why do you keep talking? Why does he keep talking? Just show this. Just show it visually, and I'd be way more okay with it. Yeah, it's still stupid, kinda. But the fact that he feels the need to just keep talking about it is so annoying. There you go. Just have that. Tars, you have the data of the black hole. Transmit it in Morse. Give it to me. Yeah, it would be so much data. She would be having to watch that watch for days to get all of that data. In Morse? It would take so long. Unless black holes are like way more simple than we think they are, and they're just like chill. They're like chill guys with their hands in their pockets. It'd also take my finger would start cramping. Dot dash dot dash dot. I'd be doing that for hours. He must have really liked Red Dragon. Dot dash dot. Bro. How much longer is this? It's already been 2.5 hours? Good lord. If this movie, I think there's a way to do it. If this movie was 2 hours, I'd probably really like it. He thought, let me do a homage. I think it's possible to trim this into a cohesive 2 hours that's actually better. And I would do it if I wasn't so uninterested in doing it. If I could get like the master copy of it, I would think about it. If I could like tweak certain elements, cut out certain things. If he gave me carte blanche, I would try. I would try and see if I can cut this in a better way. I don't know if I could. That's probably very arrogant and egotistical of me to say, but I feel like there are very simple and easy spots where you could go in and just and have a better movie, honestly. Again, I don't even know if you need to show him in the black hole if you just follow Murph. Like Murph is in her bedroom, she sees stuff on the watch. She solves the problem, and then at the end they meet up again. You haven't seen him for the whole movie, and she's like, "You were my ghost." And he's like, "Yeah, I was. I fell into a damn black hole and gave you the data. I was able to give you the data across gravity." Now that'd still be stupid, actually. Never mind. Don't do that. Just don't do it in general. Or just cut out the exposition. It'd make it tighter. They're us. You already said that. They didn't bring us here. We did. You already said that. You don't need to do it again. Eureka. Gigabytes of data in less than 10 seconds. Yeah. Probably terabytes of data, honestly. Or more. You already said that. Already said that. See, that would be cool. See what happens now? Fine with that. I'm fine with that line, but he said the same thing like 4 times. It was us. It was us. It was us. It was people. It was people. It was people. Oh, bro. And here's the first handshake. Hello. I'm here. It's me. It was me. Somehow, because I was in a black hole. Woohoo! There it is. That's a cool visual too, where he's in like Mercury. That's neat. And now he's floating, and the black hole spat him out over by where the wormhole was. Because humans did it. Because we did it. Because we are them, and we can use a black hole on one side of the universe and to spit someone out on the other side of the universe right next to where the wormhole was, because they put the wormhole there, and now they can put the guy there because they put the thing in the black hole, and so he did the main quest and the hole dissolved. Yeah, pretty much. The black hole doesn't exist anymore. Gargantua, because he did the main quest, it was like, okay, that was fun. And then it spat him out in Saturn. Now to the side quest. Anne Hathaway. Pink. Whoa. Why would they ever play baseball? Every line that I've thought this since I first saw it. Every line that doctor says, he ends by going like this, like tucking his lips in. Cooper Station. You're very lucky. That. Here we go. He's gonna do it again. Yeah. Yes. There it is. Ha 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 ha. Oh, hi, Taboo. There it is! He did it again. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. See, I scare him every time I get animated. I'm sorry, Taboo. Come here. Hi. Come here. Good boy. Come here. Come here. Good boy. I'm sorry I'm scaring you. I'm just having a little bit of fun. Come here, Taboo. All right. So the main story is essentially over. We got our epilogue here. And I don't mind this. I think this epilogue is actually really good. It's actually probably the best way that you could end said movie. With him going on the station, beating his daughter again, even though she's way older than him. It's cool visually, it's cool conceptually, and then he finally figures out his place in the world, and that is going to be with Anne Hathaway and, you know, bringing back the population on that planet, even though now they have a space station, so they don't necessarily need to do that, but I guess they're just going to float this whole thing there over the course of millennia? I don't know. I love the testimony and the museum vibes. Yeah, that's cool. It's a cool concept. A lot of this concept, like, conceptually isn't cool. I don't know exactly understand how Cooper is going to fly his little spaceship to Anne Hathaway, but it's thematically it's good. Oh, Tars also survived. Oh my gosh. And he's living in his old house. Oh. Tars is so sassy. They're so cute together. You should marry Tars, actually. They got good chemistry. No, it's like a mirage. Yep. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's an interesting concept that there's a space station that they can live on. I actually agree with you, yeah. They're back right on Earth. How did they get to another part of the galaxy? I have no idea. Is the wormhole still there? Was he plopped out because of the wormhole? It didn't look like there was a wormhole there. But if it's there, are they going to take the space station through the wormhole and try to get to Anne Hathaway's planet? Is that what Cooper's going to do? Oh, there she is. Oh, these vagabonds. Hi, it's me, Murph. You remember me? I was tiny, and now I'm old. And you only spent, like, 4 days in space. Great concept. I thought he did like farming. Or did he just do it because it was necessary? I know Timothy Chalamet, aka Casey Affleck, liked farming. What the frick was that kid's name? I don't know. Why wouldn't they believe you? You could just show them that. They didn't believe me. I thought I was doing it all myself. No, look, it was this watch. Check it out. There's actually Morse code on it. Oh my gosh, you're right. It's end of story. I should put the watch in a museum. And we're the same age, except I look exactly the same because of time dilation. Ain't that crazy? Wouldn't that be so freaking crazy? That would be so freaking crazy. You're in space for like a couple weeks, and then you show up, and your daughter is like 1,000,000 years old. And she has kids and like grandkids and great grandkids. That's crazy. I think it's so. Hi, Tabu. I think it's someone over to be able to see the entire lifespan of your child, all their family, all their filings. He didn't want to know more. Yeah, yeah. I would. I'd be like, yo, what did you do for your whole life? Look at these kids. These are crazy. But maybe he's realized that the family that he was fighting for was in fact not the family that he truly had and wanted, and it was actually Anne Hathaway being sexy on a different planet. Does she know she's alone? I thought Wolf Edmonds was supposed to be. Oh, he's dead. Does she know that Wolf Edmonds is dead? Did she get there when Wolf Edmonds was dead or no? I wonder. A lot of interesting questions on that one. Oof, look at how shallow that focus is. My goodness. Focus on her eye and her nose is out of focus. That's crazy. Go get her, Coop. You ever seen two 130-year-olds have sex and yet look like they're 40? By the way, son. But they didn't have any chemistry between each other during the entire movie. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They really didn't. Their dynamic was very forced and not great. They didn't have any sexual chemistry at all or tension. It wasn't even implied. So maybe they're just going to be hanging out together and vibing. I don't know. Oh, look, there's a whole colony. But is it just her? And there it is. That's the end. That is Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan. I'm going to pause it. Wow. Personally, I still don't get it. We just watched the whole thing, and if anything, I like it less. Oh, I mean, there are a lot of things to appreciate. Of course, we've gone over a lot of things. The first act's pretty good. I think it fails to set up the characters properly. I think it fails to set up Cooper and Murph's dynamic. Visually, it's gorgeous, and it sets up Earth as something pretty cool. It sets up some cool concepts and sci-fi ideas. Visually, it's gorgeous. Production is great. And then they go to space, and there's cool spacey things that happen and cool scientific things that happen. And then Matt Damon shows up, and the movie completely falls on its face. I don't know what else to say. I don't get it. I really don't. I was hoping to at least see something, or to have like comments help me out through this. But I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't want to watch it again. I've watched it too many times. I've tried so hard to like it. And I don't want to watch this again. I own 2 copies of it. Why? Why do I keep feeling the need to watch this? Why do I keep feeling the need to buy 4K copies and the nice like slip cover copies and all this but I don't. Oh, well, thank you. I'm gonna offer you coffee in appreciation of the content. Thank you so much. That's very, very nice of you. You don't have to do that, but generous of you. Very, very cool of you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't like this movie, man. It got worse. It got worse. Before this screening, I was saying that I thought the first half was fantastic, and then the second half was a little weak. And now I'm like, the first half has its issues too, and the second half kind of actually sucks. There's probably more to discover. There probably is more to discover. I don't know. I don't see it. My brain thinks a certain way, and I can't get past it, and that's fine because it's my brain. And And there's plenty of people that are totally okay with Matt Damon being the mustache twirling villain, and they don't see or care about the moments of dramatic tension where we find something out and then they find something out again, and they don't care about the exposition dumps or Cooper yelling into the black hole, everything that's just happening, and that's fine. But I don't like that stuff. I think it's sloppy. I think it's poor filmmaking. I think Christopher Nolan can do better. And that's probably why I'm so frustrated with this film. Not just because it's widely been starting to become seen as one of the greatest films of all time, and I personally don't think so. That's frustrating on its own. But I think what's most frustrating is that Christopher Nolan's a great filmmaker, and I can see how great of a filmmaker he is, and everybody can see how great of a filmmaker he is, and I'm sure he knows he's a great filmmaker. And then he does some dumb shit for no reason. And that's what's so annoying. Like, does he feel the need to placate to an audience because he knows he has an audience now? Whereas in Memento or Prestige or Following or even Insomnia, he didn't really have an audience. He had some, and I'm sure he wanted an audience, but now he makes a movie like Oppenheimer, which is a boring biopic about a guy that created a bomb that felt bad about it, justifiably so, and he knows it's going to make $1 billion. So does he feel the need to play to a mass audience more? Is that what we're getting now? Is that why he's doing this? Because, of course, all of his old movies still have expositions. They still have things to explain. You still have to, like, you can't just have Guy Pearce show up and be like, oh, yeah, everything's cool, and then not explain or show to some degree that he has short-term memory and he has all these tattoos and he has the Sammy Jenkins thing in his brain. You have to explain some things, but now it's like he is showing the things while also explaining the things. And then he'll explain the things multiple times. I don't know. I feel like he's a director at this point who should have carte blanche to do whatever he wants. And it feels like some of his newer ones are studio movies in a bad way. They're not bad movies, but when you make a studio movie and you're at the caliber of him, you should be able to make something like Killers of a Flower Moon that Martin Scorsese made, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that Quentin Tarantino made. Like, these big budget movies that don't play to an audience at all. Like, and I don't love, I'm not completely in love with those movies, but they do their thing. They march to the beat of their drum. At like 3.5 hour Killers of the Flower Moon, a studio with any other director would get in there and trim that up, explain things more, get to the point faster. And that doesn't do that because it's Martin Scorsese. Chris Nolan has that reputation in Hollywood, and yet he's still making movies that feel the need to have these long-winded, cringe-inducing exposition dumps that not only are holding your hand, but crushing your hand by how much it's trying to yank you in a certain direction. And it's incredibly frustrating, especially after just watching 28 years later, The Bone Temple, because that movie does a lot of heavy lifting just with visuals. Oh, hi, Tabu. So coming from that to this, which is so dramatically different, obviously, but at least, like I said, even Team America does a better job of explaining its plot and giving people motivation and characters and story points motivation. I don't know. I wish I could watch this movie with your knowledge. Haha. But I'm just uneducated in the film department. No, that's okay. I feel pretty uneducated too. I'm just saying what's on my mind. Maybe he's boxed into it. He doesn't feel the need, but he's forced it. Maybe he just wants to do a show. Maybe. I don't know. We don't know what Chris is thinking or why he made the decisions he made. But I don't know. It's frustrating because I know he can do better. And he has done better. There's nothing worse than a filmmaker who is at the top of their game, has unlimited money, can do whatever they want, and doesn't utilize it properly. I hate seeing it, man. It makes me sad. It's like, again, 28 years later, Bone Temple is like a nothing budget with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, two of the hottest names in Hollywood, and they made this incredible piece of art with so much depth and complexity, Everyone has motivation. Every character has arcs. Every character has meanings. And then this is like Anne Hathaway shows up in a dark room, and she's the main character of the movie, and her whole character is just telling Cooper what he wants or doesn't want to hear, and then she pisses off to another planet. Like I don't get it. It's not my type of thing. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate the donation. It's really cool of you again. You didn't have to do that. But thanks for sticking with me. If you watched it, great. Appreciate it. Well, if you watched the movie with it, the commentary, great, even better. What did you think? Do you like this movie? do you have any critiques of my critiques? I'm curious to hear more from y'all, especially if you really love this movie, if you think it's one of the greatest films of all time, if you're from TikTok or Instagram or wherever and you think this is the #1 movie you know, please help me. Please.